I need to tell someone about this. I can't sleep. I can't eat. Every time I close my eyes, I see that room. Room 237. This happened 3 weeks ago, but it feels like yesterday. I'm a traveling salesman, and I've stayed in hundreds of hotels. Cheap ones, expensive ones, everything in between. But I've never experienced anything like this. And I hope to God I never do again. It was a Wednesday night, and I was driving through rural Pennsylvania. A last-minute client meeting meant I needed accommodation fast. I pulled up a hotel booking app and found the Riverside Inn, a small 2-story motel about 15 miles from where I was. Most rooms were $89 a night, pretty standard. But there was one room listed at $35, room 237. I figured it was a glitch, maybe a basement room or one facing a noisy highway. At that point, I didn't care. I was exhausted, and I just needed a bed. I booked it. The confirmation came through immediately. Room 237, $3,500. Thank you for your booking. When I arrived at the Riverside Inn around 11 p.m., the parking lot was nearly empty. Only 3 cars. The building looked worn down, peeling paint, flickering neon sign, the whole deal. But I'd seen worse. I walked into the lobby. Behind the desk was an older man, maybe in his 60s, with deep-set eyes and a gaunt face. He looked up from his newspaper when I entered. "Checking in," I said, trying to sound friendly despite my exhaustion. "Name?" His voice was flat, emotionless. "David Morrison. I booked room 237. The moment I said 237, his expression changed. Just for a second. His eyes widened slightly, and his hand froze mid-reach for the room key. You booked 237? He asked slowly. "Yeah. Is there a problem?" He stared at me for a long moment, then shook his head. No problem." He grabbed a key from the board behind him, an actual metal key, not a key card, and slid it across the counter. "Second floor, end of the hallway. Checkout's at 11 a.m. I grabbed the key and headed toward the stairs. As I reached the staircase, I heard him mutter something under his breath. I couldn't make out the words, but his tone was pitying, like he felt sorry for me. I should have turned around right then. The second floor was dimly lit. Half the hallway lights were out, and the carpet was stained and worn. I walked to the end of the hall, passing rooms 231, 233, 235, and then there it was, room 237. The door looked different from the others, older. The paint was darker, chipped in places, and there were scratch marks near the bottom, long, deep gouges in the wood. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The room was fine. I mean, it wasn't nice, but it wasn't horrible either. A double bed with a faded floral bedspread, a small TV on a dresser, a bathroom with a shower curtain that had seen better days. But there was a smell. It wasn't strong, but it was there, sweet and rotten at the same time, like flowers left in water for too long. I opened a window, hoping fresh air would help. I dropped my bag, kicked off my shoes, and sat on the edge of the bed. That's when I noticed the mirror above the dresser. It was cracked, a single long fracture running diagonally across the glass. I stared at my reflection, split in two by the crack, and then I saw something. In the mirror's reflection behind me, there was a dark stain on the carpet near the closet, a large, irregular stain that looked like it had been scrubbed but never fully removed. I turned around. The stain was real.
I tried to ignore it. I really did. I told myself it was just an old motel, and old motels have stains. No big deal. I lay down on the bed, fully clothed, and tried to sleep. But I couldn't. That smell kept getting worse. And now I was hearing sounds. Soft sounds, like fabric rustling, or someone breathing. I sat up, my heart pounding. "Hello?" I called out. Silence. I turned on the bedside lamp. The light flickered before stabilizing. I scanned the room. Nothing was out of place, but the sound continued. A faint, rhythmic rustling, like something moving slowly. It was coming from under the bed. Every instinct told me not to look, but I couldn't help it. I leaned over the side of the bed and lifted the edge of the bed skirt. At first, I saw nothing, just darkness and dust. And then my eyes adjusted. There was something there. A suitcase. Old, brown leather, covered in dust. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. There were fingernail scratches on the inside of the bed frame. Deep, frantic scratches. Like someone had been trapped under there, clawing desperately to get out. I jerked back, my breath coming in short gasps. I grabbed my phone and called the front desk. It rang, and rang, and rang. No answer. I couldn't stay in that room. I grabbed my bag and headed for the door, but when I tried to open it, the handle wouldn't turn. I twisted it again. Nothing. It was locked from the outside. Panic set in. I pounded on the door. "Hey! Someone open this door!" No response. I ran to the window. It was stuck. I tried forcing it open, but it wouldn't budge. I was trapped. That's when I heard it. A voice. Faint. Whispering. "Help me." It was coming from the closet. I froze. My entire body went numb. "Please, help me." I didn't want to open that closet, but the voice kept calling. Slowly, I walked toward it, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. I opened the door. Inside was nothing but empty hangers and that suitcase, the same one from under the bed. But now it was open, and inside were clothes. Women's clothes. A jacket, a pair of shoes, and a wallet. I picked up the wallet with shaking hands and opened it. Inside was a driver's license. The photo showed a woman in her 30s, smiling. Name: Rebecca Holloway. Date of birth: March 12, 1994. Address: Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then I saw the date on the license. It expired in 2019. I dropped the wallet and ran back to the door. I kicked it, hard, again and again, until the wood splintered and the lock finally gave way. I burst into the hallway and ran down the stairs, not stopping until I reached the lobby. The old man was still there, reading his newspaper like nothing was wrong. "What the hell is going on?" I shouted. "Why was I locked in that room? Whose suitcase is that?" He looked up at me calmly, too calmly. "You shouldn't have opened the closet," he said quietly. "Who is Rebecca Holloway?" He sighed and folded his newspaper. "She checked into room 237 7 years ago. Never checked out." My stomach dropped. What do you mean?" "She was running from someone. An ex-boyfriend, I think. She paid cash, didn't want to be found. We gave her that room because it was cheap and out of the way." He paused. 3 days later, housekeeping found her. She'd locked herself in the closet, thinking he'd found her. But he never came. She died in there. Heart attack, they said. From fear. I felt sick. "And you're still renting that room?" "We tried to stop, but every time we take it off the listings, it shows back up. And people book it, like you did." He looked me dead in the eyes. "She's still waiting for someone to help her." I left that hotel and never looked back. I reported it to the police, but when they checked, there was no record of a Rebecca Holloway dying there. No missing persons report. Nothing. But I know what I saw, I know what I heard, and I'll never forget room 237. If you ever see a hotel room listed way cheaper than the others, don't book it. There's always a reason.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more true horror stories. And remember, some rooms are cheap for a reason.